words of our Divine Mother from the book The Mother by our Lord Sri Aurobindo, with the Mother's comments of 1951, comments on chapter 5, page 90. Question: it sometimes happens that when one is playing, one does not remember the divine, then suddenly one remembers and has the feeling that something breaks and one no longer plays well. Why? For this, our mother says, because everything is upset, that's the problem. So you think that when you are playing and do not remember, you play well. No, it is not quite that. It is that you do something with a certain concentration, work or play, and you're concentrated. But you have not developed the habit of mixing the remembrance of the divine with the concentration, which is not difficult. But anyway, you do not have the habit, and then suddenly the remembrance comes, and then two things may happen. Either the concentration is broken because you make an abrupt movement to seize the new attitude entering the consciousness, or else you feel a little remorse, regret, or disquiet. Oh, I did not remember. That suffices. It upsets all you have done, for you change conditions completely. It is not the fact of remembering which makes you no longer play well, it is a fact of having disturbed your concentration. If you could remember without disturbing the concentration, which is not difficult, you would not only play well, but you would play better. And then you may also take another attitude. When you are playing and suddenly become aware that something is going wrong, you are making mistakes, are inattentive, sometimes opposing currents come across what you're doing. If you develop the habit automatically at this moment of calling, as by a mantra of repeating a word, that has an extraordinary effect. You choose your mantra, or rather, one day it comes to you spontaneously in a moment of difficulty. At a time when things are very difficult, when you have a sort of anguish, anxiety, when you don't know what is going to happen, suddenly this springs up in you, and the word springs up in you. For each one, it may be different, but if you mark this, and at each time you face a difficulty, you repeat it, it becomes irresistible. For instance, if you feel you're about to fall ill, if you feel you're doing badly what you're doing, if you feel something evil is going to attack you, then, but it must be a spontaneity in the being. It must spring up without your needing to think about it. You choose your mantra because it is a spontaneous expression of your aspiration. It may be one word, two words, three words, or a sentence, that depends on each one, but it must be a sound which awakens in you a certain condition. Then you have that. I assure you that you can pass through everything without any difficulty. Even in the face of a real, veritable danger, an attack, for instance, by someone who wants to kill you, if without getting excited, without being perturbed, you quietly repeat your mantra, you can do nothing to you, or nothing can happen to you. Naturally, you must truly be the master of yourself. One part of the being must not be trembling there like a leaf. No, you must do it entirely, sincerely, then it is all powerful. The best is when the word comes to you spontaneously, you call in a moment of great difficulty, mental, vital, physical, emotional, whatever it may be, and suddenly that springs up in you. Two or three words like magical words. You must remember these and form the habit of repeating them in moments when difficulties come. If you form this habit, one day it will come to you spontaneously. When the difficulty comes, at the same time the mantra comes. Then you will see that the results are wonderful. But it must not be an artificial thing or something you arbitrarily decide. I shall use these words or those words, nor should somebody else tell you. Oh, this is very good. It is perhaps very good for him, but not for everyone. Next passage. Your only object in action shall be to serve, to receive, to fulfill, to become a manifesting instrument of the divine Shakti in her works. For this, our mother says, when you act, your only object is to serve. That is, instead of acting for your own personal good, you act with the feeling of serving, of receiving the divine force, not from outside, you must not believe in that, but from within you, of opening yourself to the divine force which will use you for its action, and of fulfilling with what that force wants you to fulfill. There is no place there for egoism. It is not a matter of giving one thing and receiving another in exchange. It is not that. It is not a question of receiving from outside. There are disciplines which make it a rule. We do not like rules, for they are always arbitrary and artificial. That one should receive absolutely nothing from anybody except the divine or the guru, who represents the divine. Some people would not receive even a fruit from anybody because it does not come from the Guru. That is an exaggeration. This depends on circumstances, on conditions, and it also depends very much on the attitude one takes to oneself. It depends on many things. It would take very long to explain. But there is one thing one must learn: never to rely on anyone or anything whatever except the divine. For if you lean upon anyone for support, that support will break. You may be sure of that. From the minute you start doing yoga, I always speak of those who do yoga. I do not speak about ordinary life. For those who do yoga, to depend upon someone else is like wanting to transform that person into a representative of the divine force. Now, you may be sure that there is not 1 in 100 millions who can carry the weight. He will break immediately. So, never take the attitude of hoping for support, help, comfort from anyone except the divine. That is absolute. I have never, not at once, met anyone who tried to cling to something to find support there. Someone doing yoga, or who has been put up in touch with yoga and who was not deceived. It breaks, it stops, one loses one's support. Then one says life is difficult. It is not difficult, but one must know what one is doing. Never seek a support elsewhere than the divine. Never seek satisfaction elsewhere than in the divine. Never seek the satisfaction of your needs in anyone else except the divine. Never for anything at all. All your needs can be satisfied only by the divine. All your weakness can be borne and healed only by the divine. He alone is capable of giving you what you need in everything, always. And if you try to find any satisfaction or support or help or joy or heaven knows what in anyone else, you will always fall on your nose one day, and that always hurts. Sometimes even hurts very much. Date 5th May 1951.